At the last round in Darwin, the Ute boys tore up the track and each other.
Oh, they're into it.
Huge accident.
Oh, we've got a car over.
Now they're about to take to the streets of Townsville. And here, the concrete is even closer.
Around we go.
Look at that.
Well, plenty of action and drama in the last round in Darwin, but the Auto 1 V8 Ute Series is back on the track this weekend. It's round 4, the halfway mark, here in Townsville, Queensland. This man, Ryle Harris, is getting ready to ride. Reigning champion in car number 1, and he leads the points in 2013. 5 Fords and 5 Holdens in the top 10 of the championship, so the parity is certainly right. We weren't here last year in Townsville, and in fact, the drivers that finished on the podium in 2011 are no longer in the series, so the door is open for plenty of action this weekend.
Heading into the midpoint of the season, there's a championship-leading trio who are proving tough to topple. After winning 3 out of 4 races at the last round, Ryle Harris is beginning to clear away on points. But New South Welshman David Cedars is not far behind, and surprise packet Reece McNally continued to show good form in Darwin to still be within reach of the leader. But there's a pack of hungry Ute drivers determined to rein them in. Heading the charge is Ute veteran Gary Baxter. In his final year, he's sitting 5th and happy to be in the hunt.
I've forgotten all about the fact it's a final year. I just want to beat them. I just want to go away and then pass them in the street and they look at me and go, gee, that old bloke used to drive all right.
And 2011 Rookie of the Year Ryan Hansford sits 8th in the points, but importantly hasn't had a race win since Darwin last year.
We're under a bit of pressure to have a breakthrough win, really. You know, we've been in the series now. This is the 3rd year. So I was thinking that before I came in this weekend. It's really a good chance to step up, and we've made some more adjustments on the car. So hopefully they're going to be all right this weekend, and we can give it a good shot.
One driver who's relishing a return to Townsville is Craig Dontis. The seasoned campaigner had one of his best rounds at the street circuit last time here and hopes another good outing will throw a curveball at the championship leaders.
In the past, for some reason, people tend to go a bit haywire here. I think we had the 2 championship leaders take each other out, or take themselves out at the last one in 2011. So hopefully we can come through like Stephen Bradbury and maybe win a race. And look, obviously we want to do it on outright speed too. So it's for us, we've got to pull our finger out a bit too and actually pedal the thing a bit faster and get some results on merit. But we'll be right. We'll be up the front this weekend. We'll give it a good shot.
Tony Longhurst returns after missing the last round in Darwin with an injury. He's hoping to rekindle some of the form that saw him rubbing shoulders with the series leaders in Perth.
I know they're beatable, but you've just got to have everything right. You've got to be right in the mind, right in the car. The car's got to be set up right. And like I said, they're specialists in this series now, and the top 3 or 4 guys are super, super good. So that's a challenge.
After some frightening crashes and bashes in Darwin, including a rollover, the Utes of John Wood and Danny Bazadzik couldn't be repaired in time for this round. While others involved in the mayhem will make it to the grid for Townsville, it remains a talking point.
There was a lot of carnage. At one stage there, my teammate turned around, the guy in front of him, it was Jerry McLeod, and I was tucked up in behind Craig Dontis, and all of a sudden, it all opened up in front of me, nowhere to go, and I've just collected Jared in the side of the car, and he felt dreadful, poor Jared. He's actually sent me a Facebook message even before I got back to the pit, saying, sorry, mate.
Now confronted with the tight confines of a street circuit, there's bound to be more door-to-door action amid some fierce Holden versus Ford V8 Ute racing.
To the NZ Drivers' Championship after Darwin, Ryle Harris has a great lead now, 29 points, still pretty tight. Reece McNally there in 3rd. Nathan Pretty was leading the series earlier in the year. Elliot Barber, the number 1 rookie so far in 2013. Armour All pole position winner. Well, he wasn't quickest in the first 2 sessions. That was Kim Jane, but when it mattered, Nathan Pretty by just 0.08 of a second took out the Armour All pole position money, $1,000, going the way of the Milwaukee Power Tools entry. So it's nearly time to unleash the Utes around this 2.86 kilometre circuit here in Townsville. It's the Auto 1 V8 Ute Series, protected by Armour All.
You're watching the Auto 1 V8 Ute Series, protected by Armour All. round, we profile Muswellbrook driver Jeremy Gray from JMG Racing.
Yeah, I got into V8 ute racing. It was a long process to get here. I started on motorbikes. I've always enjoyed motorsport, and I started really late. The most memorable moment in V8 utes is probably here at Townsville. Our first year, we're in a Rockstar ute, and bam, we won a race, and we got on the podium in third spot. So that was probably the best part of my career so far in V8 ute racing. Greatest rival in V8 ute racing. I think there's a bit of a thing going around. If Jeremy Gray gets behind someone, everyone goes, oh no, Jeremy's behind me. So I'm probably everyone else's greatest rival.
Jeremy lost it Gray there, a former race winner of the reverse grid race here in Townsville, which is exactly, James Moffat, what we're about to get ourselves into.
And it always provides plenty of action, Chad. But before we get into the reverse grid race, we've got to have a look at the highlights of race one.
So Nathan Pretty left of screen on the front row alongside Kim, the assassin Jane, and it was Jane who swung through at turn one, a very fast entry, and then hard on the brakes into turn two.
So great start by Kimbo. Led the field into turn one. 30 utes here this weekend at Townsville. Marjoram in the Auto 1 ute ran wide, lost a couple of positions, but have a look at this slow-mo. Kim Jane using the curbs at turn 5, which is something you have to do here at Townsville to be fast.
One hand out the window. Kim, the assassin Jane, takes out race number one for us there. He was pretty excited about that, as he would be. His first race win of the season, first since Perth. Nathan Pretty home for second. David Cedars followed by Ryle Harris. But Kim Jane, that's a very strong win for him.
Oh, it's very sweet. You know, we started off the year so badly at Clipsal, and we started to get together by when we went to Perth. Darwin, we came away with a podium finish in second, and to qualify on the front row today and to get the lead in the first race and win it. It's been a lot of hard work, and the team, we're all just ecstatic.
He's had that ute on display at the Holiday Inn here in Townsville all week, as a matter of fact. Most of these utes made their way straight across from Darwin. We reversed the top 11 from race number one, which is why we've got Adam Marjoram and Stephen White off the front row. But another strong rookie in there, Elliot Barber, he's off the second row.
Yeah, watch for him. He's been fast all year. But have a look at our heavy hitters in the championship. Ryle Harris, David Cedars and Nathan Pretty coming off rows 4 and 5 for this race.
Great to have the utes back here in Townsville. They weren't here last year, Andrew Fisher and Kim Jane. So there's Kim Jane out of position number 11. Jared McLeod and Jeremy Gray only just missing that invert. Reece McNally and some other big names down the field, including Wayne Wakefield, who got turned around in race number one.
And have a look for Jesse Dixon and Tony Longhurst starting on the back row of the grid. They'll be fast and charging through the field.
Yeah, Dixon unfortunately a DNF in the first race. Lap one damage. Tony Longhurst sent to the rear of the field for not obeying his drive-through penalty that he got for passing under the yellow flag. So watch for those guys off the back. But it's Marjoram, Stephen White, teammates on the front row. The red light, it's the reverse grid race here in Townsville. And away we go. Marjoram, not a bad start, but it's Stephen White who's going to maybe get the jump from the go. Walton and Cedars and Barber are all in the middle of this one as well. Grab a gear, throw it into turn one, and who's going to win this race into turn two?
Great start by White Dog, Stephen White. He leads the field into turn two for the first time. Always plenty of action here at Townsville into turn two. Can they get through the first lap cleanly?
Nathan Pretty, great start. We're riding on board with Craig Dontis. Everybody trying to find that little bit of room. Stephen White, the Dunlop super dealer. Ute is well out in front. Dontis had him locked up. Contact, we got mirrors going everywhere. A little bit of damage. That was Jane going over the grass to try and stay out of it. Ryle Harris is just going to slot in front of him. Here we go, turn 5, fast part of the circuit.
Stephen White doing a great job so far. He's got a handy lead already, but a bit more action further back in the pack. Kim Jane, our race one winner, trying to charge through. Talking about charging through, it's Harris, the championship leader, up the inside of Fisher into turn 7.
The X-Force on board showing that shot perfectly. It's also showing the damage hanging off Ben Wilson's car. He's got a lot of damage to the right front. Here comes Elliot Barber. Late move under brakes. Can he get this thing pulled up? Yes, puts Gary Baxter down a spot. Gave him some racing room on the outside. Oh, did he?
Not on the exit. Gave him a hip and shoulder. Baxter won't be happy with that. Now he has to defend from Chris Walton into the final corner, but he should be able to hold on to that position.
Maybe a switchback coming. Baxter did well to just wipe off that mid-corner speed. It kind of stopped Chris Walton's exit speed. So Barber now will bring home this first lap in third position. Not a bad start. So we've got rookies in second and third. They're chasing down the former Holden Young Lion driver of Stephen White. Yellow flags down here.
Already, safety car out on the circuit. Not quite sure what that's for, but here we go.
It'll be Grant Bromley. He's had an absolute torrid weekend. He's had some help from heat treatment. They've been very patient with this car. Unfortunately, electrical issues has hampered their weekend. Now, what's happened here? Auto 1 replay time, the run down to turn 3 this is.
So pretty enhancement getting into it into turn 3. Kim Jane has to bail over the curb to avoid getting into the back of somebody. Dondas too up the inside of Cedars. Narrowly avoids the back of the Milwaukee Commodore.
And this would also be another reason for the safety car. Headlight coming off. It's a usual thing that we see safety cars in the reverse grid races, isn't it, Moff? As we get another replay, this was Harris. Keep an eye for this one. And there's Ben Wilson.
Oh, and around goes Bromley.
Right.
Oh, so very lucky not to get hit by anybody.
It's a frightening moment for Grant Bromley facing the wrong way. So the Petters STP safety car out on track. It's the Auto 1 V8 Utes protected by Armour All. Welcome back to the streets of Townsville. Reed Park is the location. Race number 2 of the Auto 1 V8 Utes, and we're back to green flag racing. Stephen White getting a good jump from the restart. And that's Adam Marjoram slotting into second position, on board for a personal best for both these two at the moment.
Oh, big lock-up by Ryan Hansford into turn 2, following his teammate Chris Walton. So he would have been mindful of not wanting to get into the back of his teammate Walton. But Stephen White leading the field again on this restart.
Stephen White had such a good weekend up in Darwin. He was finishing in the top 3 on a couple of occasions, nearly held on for a race win, but Ryle Harris just managed to chase him down. Can he hold on for this one? He's got a couple of very young, fast guys behind him. There's Ben Wilson making his return to the series. His brother Cam's out there as well.
On board now with Andrew Fisher through turns 5 and 6. Great part of the circuit here at Townsville. And now into a very technical area of the track. Turns 7 and 8. Have to use the curb, particularly at turn 7. And now trying to put the power down out of turn 8. Very difficult because it's a long, loaded corner. And this, my favourite section of the track, turn 10, over the bumps, very fast. And these V8 Utes, they love this Townsville street circuit.
The cloud up the inside. Oh, looks like Peter Burnett with a lot of smoke at the back. He had some dramas in Darwin after a couple of big accidents up there, riding the X-Force on board. Andrew Fisher looking out the back. Love this view.
Oh, and a big move by Graham Edwards up the inside of Jared McLeod in the last corner. But back at the front of the field with Stephen White, just doing all he needs to do at the moment to stay out in front of the field.
Elliot Barber in the Cool Sport number 7. He's the third different ute to sport the number 7 so far this year, after Jeremy Gray had it at one point. And then David Cedars ran that number in Darwin.
And of course, Chad, David Cedars ran that number 7 in Darwin in tribute to the late, great Rodney Crick. But now on board with Craig Donnis in the Thirsty Camel Commodore, following Nathan Pretty, our pole position winner. Oh, and a big moment for Pretty on the exit of turn 3. Don't know how he kept it off the wall, but he just managed to. So that would have been a scary moment inside that Milwaukee Commodore.
Well, for Pretty, this is his worst set of tyres for the weekend, trying to use them in this second race, knowing that he'll have traffic, knowing that there's likely to be safety cars, and try and reserve some good tyres for the end. Now, Cedars and Jane struggling to really pull their way through the field here, just struggling around the end of the top 10, where Pretty's actually made a few more spots up, following Ben Wilson subbing in for Jack Elsgood, a man who's had so much success at this track.
All over the back of Wilson now through turn 10. Fisher having a look up the inside into turn 11. One of the best passing opportunities here at Townsville. Not quite far enough up the inside for him to get that move done, but he's putting plenty of pressure on the back of Wilson.
Good to see Ben Wilson back, brother of Cam, like we said earlier. Cam had some issues overnight, actually having to replace the motor in the number 24. Here's Cedars, race winner in Perth, round in Barbagallo, round number 2, and Kim Jane, the race 1 winner. So a couple of guys looking to improve their championship position. For Cedars, he did remain pretty strong in Darwin as well. Up comes Fisher. Late braking. Just got that thing stopped.
Yeah, he had the rear brakes locked. He was right on the limit there of the braking limits of this car. But now Wilson, he's going to be able to get back up the inside into turn 3. Got the crossover or the switchback on Fisher. So Fisher's got all that work to do again of trying to get past Wilson. I think Wilson gave him a bit of a wave there on the exit of turn 3. So a bit cheeky there by Wilson, but a good battle.
This is the battle at the front, and this is our pole man in the Milwaukee Power Tools Commodore. Nathan Pretty trying to find his way through this field. And Roll Harris, the championship leader. Hasn't been an overly strong weekend for him, but he's still collecting the points like the true champ that he is in the tap-out entry. Dontas goes to block. Oh, Harris gets super aggressive. Wasn't going to happen there.
So Dontas, poor run out of turn 8 and 9. That made him vulnerable through turn 11. Harris had a go, but Dontas protected his line. A bit more action further up the field. Pretty's been able to get around Ryan Hansford, so his march through the field continues. So far, so good for Nathan Pretty.
This is looking very, very good for the 39-year-old from Melbourne. It'll be his birthday, actually, later in the week. And already, he's flying through this field and looking good for a front row start, given the big bag of points that he's collected so far this weekend. Blocking up the inside there. Dontas is going to get a bit of a bump and run here from Harris. I feel like using a bit of muscle to get through.
So Ryle not very happy with the treatment he's copping from Dontas. Just letting me know that with a bit of a tap and a bit of action further back in the field here. Jesse Dixon on his march through the field. We said he was starting from the back row of the grid and he'd be one to watch. Here we go now, replay of Dontas defensive with Harris, and Harris just gives him a bit of a shove just to let him know that he's there.
These reverse grid races, you're going to do whatever you can to find your way through. The Jesus Racing entry, Andrew Fisher bouncing off the curbs. We're going to bounce off to an ad break. The Auto 1 V8 Ute Series, protected by Armor All. We're back in a sec. Tearing up the streets of Townsville, lap number 8 of 13, the Auto 1 V8 Ute Series, protected by Armor All. Your leader, Stephen White from Adam Marjoram and Elliot Barber.
Oh, big amount of curb there by Stephen White through turn 5.
Maximum part of commitment through there is just incredible. All over the wheel. Here we go. On board with Elliot Barber. Vogue Financial on board following Marjoram. Takes some curb. It unsettles the Ute.
Yeah, so saw Marjoram just too much curb at turn 7. That threw the car sideways, and that's made him a bit vulnerable to Barber now into turn 11 because of his poor exit out of 8. Barber showing the nose into turn 11. Oh, a bit of a lock-up by Marjoram, and he throws that position away. So Barber shoots through to P2. But Marjoram, he's not giving up this position without a fight.
That's a pretty brave spot to try and get the move back through turn 12. Now Walton's jumped onto the back of this one, so this is good. These two rookies have been turning on this year with Jesse Dixon, and now they've got last year's Rookie of the Year chasing them down. The front straight, Stephen White's managed to open up a little bit of a gap as these two start to brawl behind him. Pushing 190, 200 k's an hour. Barber goes to block. Oh, contact! Marjoram turns him round. Can he hang on to it? He kicks it off the wall. They nearly hit. Oh, what a save.
What a save by Barber. An absolute miracle that none of those cars ended it in the concrete wall. But I don't know what Marjoram was thinking.
Barber comes across, more contact. Oh, the gloves are off in Townsville. Marjoram and Barber. The Auto 1 Ute, the Cool Sport Ford as well, going at it right now. Holden versus Ford. Pretty's onto the back of this. Hansford as well. This isn't over.
Nathan Pretty now having a look up the inside at turn 5, but Barber, that Ute is all over the place, holding on. Pretty now up the inside into turn 7, should be able to get the pass done. And have a look at Ryan Hansford, he's trying to find a way through as well. But Elliot Barber, man, that was a massive moment into turn 2.
It's a huge lose, and the bad news is he's wounded. He's badly wounded. These tyres are absolutely haggard. And now look at them queuing up for a go. We've got Hansford in this. Dontas.
I'd say Barber would have 4 pretty decent flat spots on those tyres after a moment like that.
Just lucky that the front and back isn't completely front spot. I'm talking about the bumpers and the
He's lucky that he's still going.
It's
full stop, isn't he? But here we go. Massive misjudgment by Marjoram. Just flat out mistime that and into the back of Barber. Huge moment, and lucky that neither of them ended up in the concrete wall.
Here we go.
This will be a good shot.
On board Elliot Barber.
Barber just minding his own business. Big shot from behind. How he kept it off the concrete, I do not know. But I dare say there might be a bit of a penalty coming for Marjoram.
And right you are, as a matter of fact, off drive-through penalty for the Auto 1 Ute, so that's disappointing. It was going to be such a strong result, his best result of the year for Adam Marjoram. And just the tiniest mistakes, he just misjudged it ever so slightly, racing hard. And unfortunately, that's going to cost him a spot in the top 5. He'll fall way down the order. But Barber now has issues still with this car trying to get it handling correctly with these kind of flat spots. Must just be an absolute tough job.
Well, he's got Ryan Hansford all over the back of him, so he's got to worry about that. Oh, we got the hand up from Craig Dondas, so we saw him have a bit of a wiggle coming onto the straight, so maybe Ryle Harris into the back of that thirsty Camel Commodore again, and that's given Kim Jane a run around the outside.
Kim Jane, who's going to be first to blink. Harris, so late under brakes, slides the thing in. That's called backing it in. And this is still on here because now Cedars is going to get a bit of a run on both of them. Barber.
So Harris getting very frustrated. Didn't know that Kim Jane was on his outside and squeezed him for room. Have a look at the front of the tap-out Falcon. It's certainly beat up at the moment. So the championship leader getting a bit hot under the collar.
X-Force on boards. We're following Kim Jane in the Bob Jane T-Marts Commodore. Turns 5 and 6. Quick dab of the brakes. The rear end steps out once more. Harris and Dontas, well, they've separated slightly. And this is Barber and Hansford. Hansford is trying to work. Barber wide through 9. Gets it done.
Yeah, can't hold on around the outside of turn 10. Just too fast a section of the track, and Hansford up the inside, so Barber's had to give that position away. But I reckon this little battle between Craig Donnas and Ryle Harris isn't quite over yet, even though Donnas in this last lap has got a bit of a gap.
The reverse grid race, absolutely turning on the action. We only reversed the top 11, which is quite a low number considering we turned around something like 18 up in Darwin.
And we're on board with the man that just missed out on pole position. He finished 12th in the first race. So how dirty would you be on that? Just missing out on the invert by 1 position. And this battle between Harris, Cedars and Jane is heating up, and Harris going defensive into turn 2. Bit of moving around in the braking zone there, so
late moves.
Some very late moves, and now Kim
Still
Jane a run on Cedars out of the corner.
Rubbin's racing, but this race too has just gone off. Now Fisher's on the back of these two as well. Jane over that big bump at the exit of turn 3, swinging through this fast area. Turn 4.
Great 6 in the track through here, Chad. Turn 5 and 6, and have a look at Jane. He's
lost it.
Out of control. Big moment through turn 5. Lucky to hold on to it.
Massive oversteer. And he doesn't even lose a position. Oh, Fisher might though. No, he managed to just get that thing turned in at turn 7. Wild moment for the Bob Jane T-Marts ute.
We're on board with Fisher at the perfect time to see all that action happen. So Kim Jane, lucky to still be going after a moment like that. But it just shows you, Chad, how hard these guys are pushing in this reverse grid race. They know that every point counts for what is the grid position for the third and final race.
Final lap now for your race leader, Stephen White. He's won some pretty big races before, but he's not won one in this series yet. He's raced open wheelers in Europe and actually won at tracks like Donington Park in the UK, so this will be a pretty special moment for him. One last lap he needs to hold on.
And this backs up the good form that he showed last round out at Darwin. So all he needs to do is hold on for this final lap, and he should have a great starting position for himself in the third and final race.
Here comes the walking wounded, being led by Ryle Harris. Just about everybody here, including Ben Wilson's missing something this last lap. They'll need all the time they can get to get these things turned back around for race number 3. So it's White from Walton. Baxter on for a good result as well, doing his championship charge, no harm.
And how about Chucky Baxter? This weekend he equals Jack Elsgood for the most amount of round starts in V8 utes. And have a listen to this, 84 rounds he's contested. So great effort there for Chucky Baxter and putting in a good showing.
Good way to celebrate it. With a top 3 result, potentially, if he can just hold on for these last few corners. Stephen White, turn 11. Looks like he's gone into conservation mode here, just trying to save these Yokohama tyres. For the last race, we only get a certain amount of, a very small allocation as well for the whole weekend, so you've really got to protect your tyres. The amount of sideways driving going on out there, it doesn't look like there's been a lot of conservation going on. Last corner, here we go. He'll become the 7th different winner this season in the 12th race that we've had so far. At round number 4 in Townsville, Stephen White joins the winners list. What a fantastic job. He brings the Dunlop Super Dealer Commodore home in first position for the Erebus team. Prepped by Williams Race Tech, and it's still going on for these minor positions.
Have a look in the background there, Chad. McDonald, Ben Wilson and Jared McLeod all fighting over position 13. And it looks like McDonald just gets Wilson at the line.
Good racing. Good to see McDonald back in the category as well. Another man who's hopped in for this weekend. So Stephen White in the 12th race of the season. We now split them evenly, 6 to the Fords and 6 to the Holdens. Gary Baxter, strong result. Nathan Pretty, big bag of points for him here this weekend. Andrew Fisher, home in 11th. Wow, wasn't he busy in that race. Jesse Dixon, 18th, past 12 cars. Looking good for the SS Inductions Hard Charger Award. But Stephen White, his first win, I bet he's excited. He's with Kylie King right now.
Stephen, it's your rookie year in this category and a breakthrough win, a great effort.
Thanks very much, Kylie. It is. It's really a team effort. Everyone's worked really hard, and even though it was a reverse grid race, there was still 11 great drivers up the top of the field, and our goal was really just to come home strong. We just need to be patient on race weekends and let them come to us, and got to learn the circuit, learn the car around the circuit, get a good setup, and as the weekends go on, we're getting more pace, so we're stoked.
Well done, Stephen White. Well, it's been a pretty action-packed weekend so far, and you get the feeling there's still plenty more to come in the third and final race. It's the Auto 1 V8 Ute Series, protected by Armour All.